Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and welcome to my overview on all of the White Mage updates coming to Final Fantasy XIV in Dawntrail. I was recently given the opportunity to try the expansion out early at the North American Media Tour, including checking out all the job changes. Be sure to take a look at all the job change videos I'll be putting out alongside this one when you're done checking out White Mage. Of course, bit of housekeeping, reminder that Dawntrail is still in development and is still subject to changes, so don't be surprised if some of these bits are different come early access, especially potencies, which are always getting tweaked. Now, White Mage is almost entirely the same as it was in Endwalker, for better or worse. Almost every single spell and potency that it had before is still in the game and still exactly the same up to level 90. From level 91 to 100, however, some do undergo some changes or upgrades. The White Magic Mastery trait at level 94 increases the potencies of Dia, Glare, and Afflatus Misery, while another trait at level 94 reduces Swiftcast's cooldown to 40 seconds, which we learned about during the live letter. Tetragrammaton also gains a second charge at level 98 via trait as well, giving White Mage a bit better of a time with their off-global healing capacity. Medica 2 also undergoes an upgrade at level 96 to Medica 3. Its function is entirely the same, it just now rocks a new animation and higher potencies, as to be expected. Then we get into the new stuff. White Mage actually gets a new skill at level 40 called Ethereal Shift. This allows them to dash forward 15 yalms on just a 1-minute cooldown. This helps with mobility a lot, so I'm willing to bet White Mages are going to have a field day with this. Also really glad that it is a low-level skill. I know some of you are looking at things like Unending Coil at level 70 and thinking, you know what, this will be pretty nice to have. Speaking of mobility, Presence of Mind also gets a new trait at level 92. This causes using the ability to grant 3 stacks of Sacred Sight for 30 seconds. This grants access to Glare 4, an instant cast AoE GCD for 570 potency. That's a big upgrade over Glare 3. This grants 3 GCDs worth of mobility, which could be very important when attacking during the buff windows. The increased cast speed from Presence of Mind makes these stacks disappear very quickly, but hey, it's a nice addition to their 2-minute window. Finally, at level 100, you'll get a new trait for Temperance. Using your White Mage wings at max level will grant you a buff called Divine Grace for 30 seconds. This grants you access to the Divine Caress ability, an off-global AoE 400 potency barrier for you and your teammates. Not only that, but once the barrier fades, everyone gets a 200 potency regen for 15 seconds. It will consume Divine Grace, of course, when you actually use it, but this extra shield should be handy, especially if used in the 10-second window after Temperance itself actually wears off. Gives you a little bit of buffer space for it. And those are all of the White Mage changes coming to Dawntrail. Not a whole lot. It's going to feel like a very similar job. So if you enjoyed it in Endwalker, you'll probably enjoy it in Dawntrail. Their goal seems to have just been to enhance parts of the job that it's already known for. You know, there's a few boosted potencies, an extra off-global heal, and finally giving it some form of AoE barrier. Glare 4 is nice since its potency is a huge step up from Glare 3 during buffs, as well as the instant cast to help with mobility during one of the most important times. I will say, however, that I think some things on the job might be better off being less tied to other big cooldowns. Divine Caress being so infrequent and being tied to using another defensive buff itself, I don't know, it's just not as flexible as I'd personally like it to be. If anything, if they really want to keep it tied to Temperance, I kind of just wish the Divine Grace buff was permanent after you use the skill, until you actually use Divine Caress, of course, instead of either just piling it right on top during Temperance or using it in just that short window after. Or just make it its own skill. You know, I'd prefer either of those things instead of it being a follow-up. That being said, White Mage players who truly enjoy the job fantasy, high personal damage, and improved job fundamentals with Dawntrail should feel like they're eating all right. But that's going to be a wrap for my video on White Mage in Dawntrail. Again, be sure to check out all the other videos. There is a playlist in the description of this video to check it all out. And trust me, you won't have any trouble finding it on my channel today. So thanks for watching. I'll see all of you in the next video. And until then, take care.